What if the seeming peace before the storm in the realm of hip-hop and love was a myth? What if all of this was being quietly ruined by a secret concealed under those spotless posts and red carpet grins? That's just what people were contemplating when Tasha K made an unexpected and startling revelation. The most recent widely circulated report is that Yandy has been publicly displaying their everlasting connection on social media. Even while Jasmine, yes, the same Jasmine who is expecting Mendeecees' kid and has made an effort to distance herself from his social group. Before we depart, let's be conscious. Conclusion that these are just remarks made online. But everyone has the same question because of the time, the enigmatic messages, and the sudden strain between Mendeecees and Yandy. In reality, what goes on behind closed doors? More than simply rumors were spawned by Tasha K's revelation. This myth has grown to be among the most voice notes. Screenshots and emotional live performances have sparked major conflicts in recent love and hip-hop history. Stay tuned as we go further into the shocking assertions, the emotional effect, and the complex triangle that is attached. Reality television nowadays. The night Tasha K went online, social media was completely silent, as if everyone was waiting for her next action. The chat group exploded when she finally spoke those words. "Jasmine baby Mendeecees," she said, softly teasing her audience with her signature grin. "Drink tea so hot that it might disrupt the internet." Even the most ardent fans who have seen every romantic and trendy, such a surprise was beyond Hopturn's comprehension. People were trying to connect in the deluge of comments, apparently unrelated items, recognizing Yandy and referencing past recordings. According to Tasha, Jasmine's close friend revealed she didn't give names, but she told her everything in private messages. She provided enough hints for everyone to feel like something important was going place in the background. Mendeecees and Jasmine, she said, had secretly reunited after months of correspondence following an encounter at an event in Atlanta. At first, there was just lighthearted chat, but things apparently took a turn for the worst after a number of contentious late-night conversations, and fans started to, "I wonder whether this was true." When Yandy, who is known for keeping her cool, wrote, "The genuine always emerges even when the imposter attempts to conceal herself on her Instagram story." However, some people in the comment sections went berserk. Others accused her of being derogatory. Others pleaded with her to maintain her composure. Mendeecees' peculiarly guarded online conduct, such as avoiding subjects he would usually laugh at, and missing interviews didn't help either. As suspicions began to circulate, individuals began viewing earlier videos and highlighting any instances of Jasmine's name. They acted out events from previous episodes to highlight their synergy that maybe nobody has noticed before. Videos of Jasmine avoiding Yandy were brought up. Some followers said they saw something deeper in her eyes, such as grief or unresolved emotions, when her uneasy look resurfaced. In the days that followed, Jasmine set her social media accounts to private. That merely made the worse circumstance. Some bloggers speculated that she was trying to evade questions about her alleged pregnant, while some speculated that she was trying to stay out of the spotlight. Then the images showed up. Incoherent screen images of her in a restaurant wearing a big hoodie. Not confirmed, but enough to infuriate supporters even more. And fans said on Twitter, "You guys can't tell me otherwise," adding that she's beaming like she's pregnant. By now, the tale had become into its own entity. In their comments, her fans lavished her with adoration, calling her the wife who kept it down and the true queen. However, the pair themselves were strangely quiet. No joint postings, no date night pictures, and no birthday tributes. Even their closest loved ones, others emerged in the distance. Rumor has it that Yandy privately approached Mendeecees because he was perplexed and not enraged. It seems that she turned to the guy she trusted for the information rather than searching the internet. Someone close to the couple said that they had a difficult chat that was filled with pauses and tears. Mendeecees said that he had sometimes spoken to Jasmine about unresolved matters. The pregnancy rumor was refuted by him. The next day, the name appeared on almost every gossip website, but Tasha K wasn't done, not yet. 2 nights later, she went live once again and claimed to have voice notes that referenced receipts. Mendeecees and Jasmine exchanged heartfelt notes. Despite not playing them all, She said that the tone she is known to stir things up and seldom backs down when she detects controversy, so she recounted a story on her own. Her viewers, when they pleaded with her to release the footage, they believed her. "Believe me, you will hear," was her frank reply. Everything at the appropriate moment. As additional bloggers entered the conversation, it became increasingly difficult to ignore. Even a denial wouldn't have stopped the narrative from progressing, but nothing was verified. Everyone was looking for explanations, but there was no evidence. A blogger claimed to have seen Jasmine at a medical facility, however. Another said that in an effort to do damage control, Mendeecees' staff had been reaching out to individuals. Yandy's friends started having casual conversations. In those mysterious communications, Yandy herself started to seem less attractive and more reflective. Though no names were given, the timing was obvious. Loyalty is meaningless when temptation never stops knocking. Additionally, when you construct a house, make sure that each person inside has a key. With the music off and the candles lighted, she would post from her living room. Remarks such as, "Remain resilient," fans wrote, "Queen and we see your pain." There was no Jasmine in the interim. According to other reports, she was staying out of town with a relative in order to escape the commotion. Someone even stated she was talking to her lawyer after getting threats on the internet. It was becoming darker than anybody had ever seen. Expected. Throughout it all, Mendeecees tried to seem normal. In a short audio, he smiled and said, "People always want to tear families apart," but viewers couldn't help but notice how uneasy he appeared in the video. His hands were still shaking, he hardly glanced at the camera, and his laughter sounded forced. Messages began pouring in, with some saying he was misunderstood and others saying he was wrong. Yandy was seen on tape talking to a close friend in a parking lot that evening, and it was evident that he was upset. Her body language made it obvious that she wasn't shouting. She covered her face, walked back, and shook her head. The video became viral in a matter of minutes, and bloggers slowed it down, analyzing each. At this point, confusion, melancholy, and notoriety were all part of the narrative, and it was dubbed "When Loyalty Hurts the Most," as if it were a scene from a movie. In addition to being betrayed, the two who had built their company on loyalty and growth found themselves in the midst of a storm that made them doubt. Whether it was true or not, the harm had already been done. Hashtags began trending, fans began to take sides, and everyone waited for someone to be honest. As the days passed, the discomfort continued and Yandy stopped posting on her blog. Jasmine remained silent. Mendeecees was not as charismatic as usual when he showed up for a family event. Standing in the back, out of the camera's line of sight, he tried to grin. Even the deepest love may end. Many people who had admired them on reality TV as the pinnacle of black love claim that as secrets begin to surface, Tasha suggests that everyone who still believes this is a rumor would be shocked by the second half of her exclusive, which she said will be released shortly. Everyone was eager to see what would happen next after that one remark pushed the internet into overdrive once again. Just when it seemed like the turmoil could, when Tasha alluded to her purported second drop, the internet went crazy. People continued to visit her website all night long to watch the next live. Supporters were torn between disbelief and curiosity, although some said she was only looking for views, while others thought she had something real. Nevertheless, there were over 300,000 watchers when she finally went live once again. You guys assumed that was the end of the narrative, but it's only getting started. After completing her glass and letting the tension build almost too delicately, she added, "Sweetheart." Fans went, she said. One person's silence speaks louder than 10, adding, "I didn't even think he'd respond." Denials. She said that Jasmine vented to a member of Yandy's close circle rather than confessing, and the messages demonstrated Jasmine's sense of being trapped and her lack of intention. Mendeecees attempted to lighten the situation, but even his mother could see how preoccupied he was. And friends who were there at their most recent family gathering said the tension was high enough to slice with a knife. Yandy was polite but distant, providing brief answers to inquiries, and no one noted that she smiled at all as the pair tried to handle things covertly. Supporters thought there was fire and were certain the A gossip site said that Jasmine was seen leaving a doctor's office late at night with a hood over her head. Thus, the pregnancy rumor wasn't simply smoke. As bloggers began competing to expose the next exclusive, everyone had an opinion despite the hazy images and the lack of proof. According to one blogger, Jasmine was prepared to come out. Jasmine was prepared to come out, but was under pressure not to. Another claimed to have gotten a message from someone using a fake account warning her to keep silent lest things become nasty. Although it seemed realistic, the internet didn't trust it. Not after everything they've gone through. The damage was already done, and the narrative was shaped by perception prior to the Mendeecees isn't flawless. But he wouldn't treat Yandy that way if the facts had the opportunity. In an interview, one of his close friends said, "People love to twist things." Tasha didn't go into any detail, but when she said that the backstory is usually darker and that she had gotten an enigmatic email from someone claiming to be more knowledgeable about the matter than everyone believes, with merely Yandy's silence started to speak for itself. Emoji was added to her tale without a description or an explanation. Itself. Fans discussed the post's significance as it garnered 1 million views in a matter of hours, with some contending that it symbolized both power and sorrow. But only Yandy saw her true meaning. A week later, Mendeecees and hip-hop and love producers allegedly approached Yandy in an attempt to address the claims in a future reunion special. But Mendeecees seemed torn as according to reports. Yandy said he wanted to be on record and that she wasn't going to spread rumors. He cleared his name, but his publicist warned him that it would be better to keep quiet. Even though this was months before the rumor began, fans were certain it had something to do with one of Jasmine's earlier statements that maintained coming up. Love sometimes doesn't die. It simply waits for the ideal opportunity. In the meanwhile, her name continued to be well known, and individuals examined her earlier postings in an attempt to interpret the caption's hidden meanings. In her turbulent comment area, thousands of people were either condemning or encouraging her to speak. Following the release of a blurry video showing Jasmine and a guy who seemed to be a Mendeecees driving late at night, supporters were certain it was him because of his voice, size, and chain, according to a gossip website. The 10-second video was sufficient to create a significant internet stir, and within minutes, hashtags like Mendeecees revealed, Justice for Yandy, and Jasmine started to trend, albeit no evidence was discovered. Texie users used filters, slowed it slower, and zoomed in, making everyone an online investigator. A few of Yandy's well-known pals even made subtle comments on the circumstance. One observed, "The devil works hard, but clout works harder," while another added, "Not everything that glitters is loyal." As the video gained viral, Mendeecees eventually spoke out, but he did it via a live broadcast rather than a statement. "You people need to quit believing everything you hear," he said gravely. "I don't put up with lying." He didn't name Jasmine, didn't speak to Tasha K directly, and didn't confirm or deny the pregnancy. Gossip. My family and I get along well. His tone was aggressive instead than reassuring. His supporters were split, with some praising his elegance and others calling it avoidance. However, Yandy did not appear or speak throughout his live performance. Asked whether she trusted him in several comments on her website, but she never answered. Her absence only increased the mystery more captivating, and the tale spread across society, even among those who had never seen the incident. Producers reportedly spoke about how to handle the growing chaos behind the scenes. Some said it was too intimate, while others they wanted to use it as a story element for the next season. But they were certain that this issue had been exposed. Out of hand while everyone waited for the next detonation, the next morning Tasha sent an enigmatic tweet. "The story y'all think you know is missing one major piece," he said. "Stay tuned." Those who weren't typically people who were interested in celebrity drama were now watching to see what would happen next. As Tasha's tweet went, everyone started guessing about what that one significant piece may be when it went viral. Some thought Jasmine had hidden something. Confession, while some thought she had DNA findings. The strain was intolerable, and by suggesting that something more significant than the initial revelation was about to happen, gossip bloggers transformed the situation into a countdown. 3 nights later, Tasha was back on the air, but her tone was harsher, almost serious. And instead of opening, the truth always finds a way out. Even when people try to bury it, she said, laughing or making jokes. She asserted that the family member acknowledged that Jasmine had informed them about a complex subject, and Jasmine felt emotionally exhausted and constrained by the attention. Involving Mendeecees. The live discussion was filled with comments, with some viewers pleading for further proof, while others were certain that this was the proof they had been waiting for. Tasha persisted, refusing to give images and concealing identities, but her fans were enthralled by her description alone. She began by summarizing what she said was proof, including emotional texts that implied having an affair and one that allegedly discussed accepting responsibility. Brief films of her live performance was widely shared, with each caption becoming more dramatic. Yandy's life in Atlanta was in ruins, according to insiders, and she had started to trust just a small number of close pals. One of them said that Yandy cried and added, "I'm tired of being strong for Tasha after hearing her latest accusations." Everyone. Additionally, she allegedly started journaling, spending more time alone, and praying in and tried to distinguish between what was genuine and what was just noise. Many people who saw Mendeecees interact with fans grin and take. He seemed ready to go on as if nothing were wrong, despite photos taken at a charity event showing his eyes as icy and his smile as empty. One audience member shouted, "Is it true?" Additionally, it was said that his face. He hesitated for a second before turning to go, and the phone's recorded video quickly gained popularity on social media. Like a movie, it was slowed down, replayed frame by frame, and scrutinized moment by moment. Despite disagreements on everything from the fact that he seemed guilty to the fact that he was just fed up with lying. Everyone wanted to express their thoughts, and at last, Jasmine's voice was heard. But it was a little essay describing her experience rather than a declaration. In only 12 words, the complete. The problem was summed up as follows: "I owe no one my truth, yet others believe what they want." In a couple of minutes, her name was trending again. The post disappeared in a matter of hours, but screenshots have previously been widely shared on the internet, with some seeing it as rejection and others as encouragement. The fact that nobody was aware of her actual objectives only helped when she seemed to have control over how the tale was presented, so producers begged her to go on camera, but she refused. She said, "I didn't want to give pain a platform, but the cameras kept recording." Speculated that she will eventually address the issue on screen and that her silence was being saved for the forthcoming season. Then the sudden change under the circumstances that took place. Individuals felt that Jasmine was at last terminating the pregnancy. Rumors, when a message that seemed to be leaked in open dialogue between her and a friend, and asserted that she wasn't maintaining anything, began creating the rounds on the internet. But even that resulted in miscommunications. Some said it implied that she had made a challenging decision, while some asserted it implied that she wasn't even expecting. Every single interpretation just raised the bar of speculation. Tasha right away said in real time that she didn't believe the message was sincere. She stated, "Because people make up things all the time," receipts. "I can guarantee you that anything greater than the sum of all the rumors is on the horizon, but it's still a long way off." Everyone. The narrative was no longer under anyone's authority. What started off as a whisper traveled the globe. Actuality suddenly, the media started covering TV. Sources that had disregarded it before. Jokes were made on late-night programs. Podcasts spent whole shows analyzing the timeline, and the response on YouTube was overwhelming. Videos. Mendeecees, Yandy, and Jasmine had developed into a plot's primary characters. That confused amusement with actuality. One of the moderators for Tasha said that the next revelation will provide evidence from a person inside the family, which turned the internet into a frenzy as the madness seemed to be achieving its peak. Nobody comprehended what it implied, yet everyone was aware of everything would alter over the next few days. 2 days after Tasha's moderator demonstrated evidence from inside the family, it seemed like the internet was holding its take another breath. One of the websites that spread rumors claimed to have gotten a sneak peek of what Tasha intended to reveal, suggesting that something important was about to take place. Even among those who don't have a strong interest in reality TV, the whole narrative was now being observed to see if it would capture either stay on or leave. Her admirers swarm around her minutes of a live broadcast,